The compound miter saw, also referred to as a chop saw, rests on the south wall of our shop. We use this tool to cross-cut to rough and exact lengths pieces of plywood and lumber. Like all of our tools, we're going to go over some basic components before we start talking about safe operation of this tool. First, let's talk about the guard. The guard is black in color and covers the blade. When we perform the cutting motion on the compound miter saw, the guard will retract, exposing the blade. When the tool is returned to the start position, the guard should go back, covering the blade. Now let's talk about the fence. When we cut, we rest all material against the fence so that it is supported where the blade comes down. So that we can cut longer pieces of material, we have wood extensions on either side of the chop saw. As stated earlier, primarily what we do is rough and exact crosscuts of small pieces of material, or we cut the ends to 90 degrees. This tool also has the capabilities to cut angles on ends. To do this, you angle the adjustment bar, taking the motor and the blade out of 90 degrees from the fence. For our purposes in this class, the majority of the time we are going to cut 90 degrees on our ends. When the saw is set up to cut 90 degrees, the gauge will show 0.
Daddy.
To turn this tool on and off, there is a power trigger on the handle. The handle will be held with your right hand, squeezing to turn the motor on and letting go to turn the motor off. On the left-hand side of the tool, there is a thing called a slide lock. This allows the motor to slide out when cross-cutting wider pieces of material. Now it's time, let's start talking about basic operation of this tool. First and foremost, when cross-cutting small pieces of material, the slide lock should be locked in place so the motor does not come out. The material that you are preparing to cut should be supported against the fence and flat down on the tabletop. There should always be some mark or line with an X signifying the side the blade can cut into and the offcut. Let's now watch a video on how to safely cross-cut a small piece of material. The operator first aligns the blade with the line on her material. With her right hand, she is going to squeeze the trigger, turning the motor on, and slowly cut through the piece of material. When the blade has come to a complete stop, she will remove the offcut with another board, not her hand. Now let's talk about cutting in slide mode, or cross-cutting larger pieces of material. First, the operator is going to have to take the slide lock and unhook it from the left-hand side of the tool so that the motor can slide out. The basic progression is to pull the tool all the way out, squeeze with your right hand to turn the motor on, cut into the material, and push it back towards the fence. When you are done, you should always replace the slide lock back and lock the motor in place. Now let's actually watch Kelly cut a wide piece of material. First, she unlocks the slide lock from the left-hand side of the tool. Next, she places the board against the fence. If you are cross-cutting a rough piece of material and do not have a straight edge, make sure that the edge is touching the fence where the blade crosses. Now, Kelly lines up the blade with her line and prepares to cut her piece in two. With the tool all the way up, she pulls the tool out, squeezes, turn it on with her right hand, slowly cuts through the material down and pushes back towards the fence. Again, out, on, down, and back towards the fence. Make sure you never remove the offcut with your hand. Always remove it with another piece of material. Let's talk for a minute about what is not okay in safely operating this tool. First, whatever you plan to cut must be supported against the fence where the blade crosses. Second, we are never going to cut with the grain on this tool. We will only use this tool to cross-cut material. There is a line and a warning symbol engraved at the base of the tool. If the piece of material that you are planning to cut is shorter than the distance between the line and the blade, you should not use this tool. There will be too little fence to support the material and your hand will be far too close to the blade